Welcome to Phantom Files, the channel where we dive into the strange, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. If you're new here, you're in for a treat, or maybe a nightmare. Today's video is a little different from our usual deep dives into chilling mysteries and paranormal encounters. This time, we're venturing into the eerie world of Reddit to uncover some of the most unsettling and unexplained stories ever shared on the platform. These aren't just any stories. These are tales that will leave you questioning the shadows in your room and the creaks in your home. From mysterious figures lurking in the woods to unnerving encounters with people who seem just a little too off, these accounts are as spine-chilling as they are captivating. Whether you believe in the paranormal, enjoy creepy stories, or just love a good scare, this video has something for everyone. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and let the unsettling tales of Reddit take you on a journey into the unknown. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Phantom Files. Our goal is to reach 250,000 subscribers this year, and with your help, we can make it happen. Like the video if you enjoy it, and let us know in the comments which story you found the most disturbing. Now, let's dive into the first story, a chilling account of a babysitter, a strange boy, and the dark woods that seem to watch their every move. Our first story takes us deep into the woods, where a babysitter's quiet night quickly turns into an unsettling encounter with the unknown. The tale begins innocently enough. A young woman, trying to make some extra cash, takes a job babysitting for a family living in a cozy cabin near the edge of a dense forest. The house seems peaceful during the day, with its charming garden, swing set, and sunlight streaming through its large windows. But as night falls, the cabin's isolation begins to feel less idyllic and more unnerving. The boy she's babysitting, Jason, is quiet and unremarkable at first. However, one night, everything changes. While exploring the house after Jason is asleep, the babysitter notices an enormous shadow cast across the room, blocking the moonlight. Fear paralyzes her as she realizes the shadow doesn't match anything in the room. Someone, or something, is standing at the window, watching her. She's too terrified to look up, and the shadow eventually disappears, leaving her shaken but unable to explain what she just experienced. Later that same night, strange creaks echo through the house. Jason is no longer in his bed. Following the sound, she discovers him in the attic, staring silently out of a small window that faces the dense, dark forest. When she tries to comfort him and asks what he's looking at, his response is chilling. "My mother." The babysitter tries to dismiss the comment as a child's imagination, but Jason's insistence unnerves her. He describes his mother, lurking in the woods, hiding like a predator. The boy's eerie calmness only deepens her unease. When she finally puts him back to bed, he tells her about a disturbing dream he had, all while glancing nervously at the window. It becomes clear that Jason is trying to stop her from turning around, as though he knows something is there. What follows is a sleepless night filled with the constant feeling of being watched. The babysitter becomes increasingly paranoid, noticing small details. A shadow moving in the garden, scratches on the windows, that suggests something, or someone, is indeed out there. This story leaves us with more questions than answers. Was the boy's mother really lurking in the woods? If so, what was she, or what had she become? And why did Jason seem so unfazed by the terror that gripped the babysitter? Whatever the truth may be, this account reminds us that the safety of a cozy home can quickly be shattered when the darkness outside starts to creep in. The second story takes a deeply personal turn, recounting a husband's terrifying experience with his wife, whose behavior begins to spiral into something unsettlingly inhuman. At first, her actions seem like playful pranks. She starts peeking at him from behind corners, around furniture, or through barely cracked doors. While odd, these moments initially feel harmless, even amusing. But as the incidents grow more frequent and sinister, the husband realizes this is far from a game. One night, he wakes up to find her crouched on all fours in the kitchen, peeking up at him with a wide, unnerving grin. Her unblinking eyes and almost predatory posture send a chill down his spine. She scuttles away, her hands and feet making sharp slapping noises against the tile floor. Later, she hides inside an old trunk at the foot of their bed, leaving the lid slightly ajar so that only half of her face is visible. When he asks her why she's doing this, she doesn't respond. Instead, she slowly closes the trunk, her eerie grin lingering in his mind long after she's gone. The situation escalates dramatically one night when he's taking a shower. Through the curtain, he sees her head slowly peeking in, her hair dripping and her face stretched into a grotesque grin. Her eyes are bloodshot, her makeup smeared, and she doesn't say a word. When he screams, she slams the bathroom door shut and disappears into the house, leaving him paralyzed with fear. The husband begins to question his own sanity, unsure whether his wife is playing an elaborate and cruel joke or if something far more sinister is at play. The breaking point comes when he sees her in their closet, surrounded by a chilling collection of animal eyeballs arranged in pairs. Her excitement and unrelenting grin seem almost supernatural. Fearing for his life, the husband flees to his brother's house, but even there, he isn't safe. Late at night, he wakes to see her face pressed against the window, grinning at him through the glass. Her persistence and unnerving presence make it clear that no matter where he goes, she will find him. This story leaves us grappling with questions about identity, trust, and the blurred line between love and fear. Is the wife possessed, mentally ill, or something else entirely? And how do you confront a loved one who has become a source of unimaginable terror? The husband's plight is a haunting reminder that sometimes, the greatest horrors come from those closest to us. Both stories, though distinct in their details, share several unnerving elements that contribute to their power to unsettle and captivate. At their core, they tap into universal fears, being watched, losing control, and the sinister unknown hiding in plain sight. Isolation plays a key role in both narratives. The babysitter's story unfolds in a remote cabin on the edge of a forest, far from the safety of neighbors or help. Similarly, the husband's experiences are confined to the supposed sanctuary of his home, a place that transforms into a battleground of terror. These settings magnify the character's vulnerability, emphasizing the dread of facing the unknown alone. Another common thread is the eerie behavior of people who should be familiar and safe. Jason, the quiet boy in the babysitter's care, becomes an unsettling presence through his cryptic remarks and emotionless demeanor. Meanwhile, the wife's descent into unrecognizable behavior shakes the husband's trust in her and his perception of reality. Both characters embody a distortion of normalcy, where the ordinary becomes disturbingly alien. The theme of being watched also looms large. The babysitter constantly feels eyes on her, whether it's the boy, the shadow in the window, or the dense forest that seems alive with unseen presences. For the husband, his wife's obsessive peeking and grinning create a constant state of hyper-awareness, where every corner and shadow holds the potential for horror. This shared element preys on the primal fear of being observed by something malevolent and unknown. Lastly, both stories masterfully use ambiguity to enhance their fear factor. They leave critical questions unanswered. Who or what was lurking in the woods? What transformed the wife into such a terrifying figure? By refusing to provide neat resolutions, the stories force readers to confront their own imaginations, filling in the blanks with their deepest fears. These shared elements, isolation, distorted familiarity, the feeling of being watched, and unresolved ambiguity, are what make these tales so impactful. They remind us that true horror often lies not in what we see, but in what we can't explain. The power of these stories lies in their ability to tap into deeply ingrained fears and universal uncertainties. They don't just tell us what happens, they force us to imagine ourselves in the protagonist's shoes, making the terror feel personal and immediate. But what specifically makes them so impactful? First, both stories exploit the fear of the familiar becoming unfamiliar. The safety of a home, the trust in a loved one, or the innocence of a child are all turned on their heads. This subversion creates a sense of disorientation and helplessness. If we can't trust what we know, what can we trust? The stories also excel at building suspense through gradual escalation. They don't throw all the horror at the audience at once. Instead, they start with subtle oddities, a shadow in the moonlight, a strange glance, a playful but unsettling prank. These small, seemingly insignificant moments accumulate until they explode into full-blown terror. This pacing mirrors real-life unease, where fear often begins as a whisper before becoming a scream. Another reason these stories resonate is their ambiguity. They leave enough details vague or unexplained, forcing the audience to confront the unknown. What exactly was lurking in the woods? Why did the wife's behavior change so drastically? The lack of clear answers means that the stories linger in our minds, with our imaginations filling in the terrifying gaps. Additionally, these stories reflect our fears of losing control. For the babysitter, it's the inability to protect herself or the child from an unseen force. For the husband, it's the horror of realizing that his partner has become something he no longer understands. This loss of agency is a fundamental fear, making the stories feel both relatable and deeply unsettling. Finally, the storytelling itself plays a significant role. Both narratives are presented as first-hand accounts, adding a sense of authenticity. The conversational tone and the relatable inner thoughts of the narrators make the horror feel grounded, as though these events could happen to anyone, even you. In essence, these stories are impactful because they prey on primal fears, fear of the unknown, fear of isolation, fear of betrayal, and present them in ways that feel uncomfortably real. They remind us that horror isn't always about the supernatural. Sometimes, it's about what's hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to notice. Both of these stories remind us why we're drawn to tales of the unexplained and unsettling. They tap into our deepest fears, of being alone, of the familiar becoming alien, and of facing the unknown. They challenge our sense of security and make us question what we take for granted, our homes, our loved ones, and even our own perceptions. What makes these stories unforgettable is their ambiguity. They don't hand us neat answers or satisfying resolutions. Instead, they leave us with lingering questions and a sense of unease. This open-endedness keeps the stories alive in our minds, forcing us to grapple with their mysteries long after the final word. The Babysitter's Tale is a chilling reminder that even the most innocent of settings, a cozy cabin, a quiet child, can hide something sinister. The husband's descent into paranoia reflects our fear of losing control and trust, especially with those closest to us. Both stories resonate because they confront universal fears that transcend the specific details of each narrative. As we close this episode of Phantom Files, we invite you to reflect on these stories and share your thoughts. Which one did you find most unsettling? Do you have your own theories about what was really happening? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this dive into the mysterious and the macabre, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all our future explorations into the unknown. Join us as we continue uncovering the most chilling tales, unsolved mysteries, and terrifying encounters. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the scariest things are those we can't explain. If these stories sent chills down your spine or left you questioning what's lurking in the shadows, we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you have your own theories about the babysitter's encounter or the husband's terrifying experience? Maybe you've faced something similarly unexplainable in your own life. This is your space to dive into the mystery with us and others who share a fascination with the unknown. And don't stop here. Phantom Files is dedicated to exploring the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright horrifying. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and make sure to subscribe to join our growing community of truth seekers. Your support helps us bring more chilling content to light. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got even more unsettling tales and creepy mysteries lined up for you. Remember, whether it's a haunted house, an unsolved mystery, or a chilling Reddit story, there's always something waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the strange and the terrifying. At Phantom Files, we're not just telling stories, we're shining a light on the shadows. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and always keep your eyes open. After all, you never know what might be peeking back at you. See you in the next episode.